A very good evening to all of you. Welcome to today's session. How are we doing? Please let me know if I am clearly audible and visible to you, and then we can get started with a very, very important session today. So I'm just going to wait to make sure I am live. Otherwise, all my precious information will be wasted. All right, seems like I am. Very good. Okay, hello, how are we doing? For those of you who are new here, my name is Asmita, your IELTS mentor here at Vedantu, and today we're here to figure out why are you stuck at that 6.5? I mean, 6.5 to 7 is a journey of 0.5. Why is this so difficult to do? Why can't you get that 7 and then 7 plus score? What is holding you back? A very important session where I'm going to tell you exactly what is wrong and exactly how you need to fix it. Now, if we are working with the assumption that you are able to get a 6.5, that means that you have decent English and you can go beyond, you can go further. You hold that potential. It's just a little bit of work in the right direction that you need to put in, and that's why I'm here to help you do exactly that. Hi Archana, hi Rohit. Very good. So आपका जो purpose था वो fulfill हो गया. आपको जिस requirement को meet करना था आपने उस requirement को meet कर दिया, and that's why you are golden. That's great. I am happy for you. Hi Sion, I'm very good. How are you doing? Chalo, now that I have all of you here, I know all of you attend these sessions regularly because you are serious about studying abroad, and because you are so serious about going abroad, I am seriously giving you a recommendation that you need to follow so that you can benefit from all of this for free. We have a counseling form linked in the description. If you have not filled it out yet, I urge you to do it. But before you fill it out, have a conversation with your parents, figure out what your budget and future plan looks like. Then fill out this form because it will require a lot of information. And that is why I keep saying this form is for serious candidates only. Once you have filled out this form, you will get contacted by an expert career counselor who has experience in this field, multiple years of experience, has successfully sent a lot of students abroad. This person will gauge what it is that you desire and what is it that is actually achievable based on your application, and they will guide you to a counselor who has expertise in your field. For example, if you want to do engineering, there'll be a separate counselor. Medical has a separate counselor, right? If you are very sure about the country you want to go to, there are certain people who have expertise in sending people to a particular country. So based on your requirements, you will be put in touch with exactly the person who is your reference point, your go-to person, any complaint, problem, query, advice you need, you just have to hit that one person up. So this service, I mind you, first of all, is very expensive if you go to a legitimate career counselor, and the cheap ones generally are not so experienced and just want to make a quick buck out of you. Here, because Vedantu is a big organization, they can they have a little bit of leeway in that they can give this to you for free for time being. I don't know how long it's going to be free for, so please make use of this service. I cannot emphasize this enough. Birupaksha, whenever you get a call, tell them that you can pick up the call for a second, right? So in that 1 second, tell them that please call me during these hours. That's when I am available, and they will call you accordingly, all right? Okay. Something very funny Sujata is finding. Share with all of us too, please. All right. So why are you not able to go beyond that 6.5? Why are you stuck? And this happens in a lot of things. When you're making progress as a beginner or as a noob, it's very easy to climb the ladder quite quickly. But it's when you're closer to the top, when you're closer to the highest possible achievement, that's when growth becomes very slow. So the graph generally looks sort of like this, where there's quick growth and then it becomes extremely slow. This happens in a lot of things. The example I can give you from the top of my head is working out. When you start exercising, if it's muscle that you want to build, then that happens quite quickly. If it's weight that you want to lose, That also happens quite rapidly. And then you hit a point where it starts plateauing. So that happens in the IELTS as well, where if you are starting from 0, yes, you can get to a 5 or a 6 quite rapidly, and then that's where you get stuck, okay? So how do we figure out our ascent from this point in time? That's what I'm here to help you figure out, okay? So first thing that's happening is we're all in our comfort zone, and our comfort zone is that of almost good enough. If you are able to frame simple sentences, if you are making sense, if you're able to hold conversations in English, you think you have checked off the list of requirements, and you are in that almost good enough zone that you end up getting quite comfortable with. The problem is almost good enough is not good enough, right? You have decent grammar. I won't say it's good. I would in fact say it's decent, in that your sentences are intelligible, they make sense, people understand what you're saying. There still might be errors there. So it's decent grammar, but you're using extremely basic sentence structures. There's no playing around with language, there's no emphasis, there's no impact, there's no spice. Vocabulary is safe, it's very convenient, it's very, okay, it doesn't show your personality or your range in any way, it's not varied. Ideas are clear, what you're saying makes sense, but they're not fleshed out, they're not developed. They don't go into the depth of whatever it is that you're trying to express, right? And not enough cohesion between sentences. So your sentences are sort of disjointed. Even if they make sense in totality, there's no smooth flow. There's some sort of resistance in the middle of all of your sentences, right? So these are the main things that are a cause of concern, that are keeping you in the almost good enough zone. Now, how do we see this through an example? Look at the first answer. It says social media is used by many people. It helps people to connect, but it also has problems. Now here, what do we have? We have three very basic sentences. The idea is clear. What is the idea? It's used by many people, it helps people, but it has problems. The idea is clear, but have we gone into detail? What kind of problems? How does it help people connect? Have we expressed the good properly and the bad properly? No. So we can say clear, but not developed. Again, vocabulary is fine, right? It helps many people. We'll use a different color for vocabulary, right? So we say it helps many people, it has problems, right? Connect. So vocabulary is fine, it's not wrong, but it's not varied, it's not exciting. Alright, so these are the problems in this. That's why this answer is stuck at band 6.5. Now, how do we elevate this answer? Very small changes. It's not like we require a lot. We just require basics. Dirupaksha, this is your free IELTS preparation, what you're attending right now. If you attend the classes regularly, I'm sure you will be well prepared for the IELTS, and you don't have to pay a hefty amount to crack this very easy exam, I would say. You ask people who've already taken it. Ask the username Jat over here who's already taken the test and he's gotten his result back. Ask him how his experience was. You really don't need expensive classes if you have good enough English to start with, all right? Okay, so while social media has revolutionized, so here we have revolutionized communication. Now, what does this word do? This is also good vocab, but it also develops our thought. Instead of saying it's used by many people, we are saying it's used by many people to the extent that it's changed our world. Our world is not the same after social media. That's why it's revolutionized everything, right? So this word not only serves as good vocabulary, it also helps us develop our idea. Now the sentence again is a complex sentence. So it's starting with a subordinate conjunction and we have a dependent clause being connected with an independent clause. So we are starting with a complex sentence structure that again adds that zing right in the beginning, okay? Its growing influence also raises concerns around privacy and mental health. Now we're saying the influence is growing and that's raising serious concerns regarding privacy and mental health, right? So first we talked about the good, we developed our idea clearly. Then we talked about the negatives. Here we have pointed out exactly what is a problem. We have narrowed it down to two areas, which is privacy and mental health, right? So our thoughts are clearly developed, sentence structure is complex, vocabulary is varied. So we have hit all of this, right? We have good grammar, we have varied vocabulary, we have developed ideas, and again we have cohesion between the ideas. Now here it's just three disjointed sentences, right? Helps, used by many people, helps people, has problems. They're not flowing into each other. Over here, the idea is flowing and it's just one sentence, and yet it seems so much more impactful than the three sentences that we used here, right? So this is what gives you a 7+ band. Starting your answers with this kind of impact, checking everything on our list, all right? So now, we need to understand, realize, internalize that getting a 7+ is not luck. This is not a luck-based exam. The reason why is because it's very level playing field in the IELTS, okay? It's not like somebody got an easier, what are the different codes of question papers or whatever, right? So mine was easier, yours was more difficult. That can't happen. There's no arbitrary setting of questions. A lot of times in Indian exams, questions are very arbitrarily set. किसी साल में बहुत मुश्किल कर दिया, कभी बहुत आसान कर दिया. It's very random a lot of times with changes in management. IELTS is not like that. It's been going on for many years. It's very straightforward in its approach. All the information is clearly available on the internet. Nothing changes too drastically. You know what to expect, and it's not like one country will have very difficult questions and other will have easier questions. No. So it's level playing field for everybody. So it's really not about luck at all. It's about skill. Your luck can play a factor in the sense that if you fall sick on the day of the exam, that's your bad luck, right? That's a different thing. But your luck can't work in ways that examiner मेरे चाचा का दोस्त निकला तो उसने मुझे ज़्यादा marks दे दिए. No, because first of all, one examiner is not responsible for your score. There are multiple people involved and they will make sure that there's no conflict of interest. So luck cannot work out in the way that you expect it to. Yeah, you can have bad luck in other aspects, that you're distracted, you're dealing with something, you are not well, right? So here in this case, just remember that it is definitely skill based and you can develop that skill. That is possible for you to do. What do you have to do? You have to bring about a change in your mindset, all right? So now, if you keep thinking that this is my safe space and I am scared to exit this, the max I can push is I can go to the corner of my safe space. That's still in the confines of 6.5, right? To really break out of your 6.5 confines, you have to break out of your safe space. And that's never easy because that entails a lot of hard work. The only thing, your escape velocity at this point is only and only hard work. And I'm not saying hard work means long hours of preparation. No. Hard work means a mix of smart work and honesty. Right? Hard work in this case is just smart work plus honesty. Smart work comes from, I will tell you about this in another video that I will put up today, but smart work can come from things like leveraging AI, making sure that you're using AI tools to your advantage, not your disadvantage, right? Following the right kind of guidance, the right kind of mentorship, that's a big one. Right, that's smart work. Next is honesty, being honest with your own progress. What does that mean? How good are you? How bad are you? Keeping tabs, being honest in your own self-criticism, asking people you trust and respect for feedback, people who genuinely care about you and have knowledge about the subject matter. When they give you feedback, taking that feedback seriously, working on it, stuff like that, right? So smart work plus honesty, that can help you escape your 6.5 box. So how do you shift your mindset over here? You need to go beyond obvious answers. Try to play around a little bit, try to experiment. Language, expression is all about showcasing who you are. And if you stick to very obvious answers like, you know, memorize tidbits, and this, even though I give you a lot of starters, the point is that I give you 40 different starters so that you can pick and choose from that. But if you're just following one template, one approach for all of your answers, then you get stuck in that obvious realm, which is really not going to make an impact on the examiner. Using flexible grammar and idiomatic expressions, we've talked about idiomatic expressions at length. That is what gets you closer to a native English speaker. Flexible grammar means being able to bend the rules of grammar or understand more complex grammatical structures and use them to your advantage for impact and emphasis whenever required. Develop ideas with examples. I can't stress enough on how important examples are. If you give examples in your answers, automatically in a second that is going to enhance your score. So make sure you do that and be very specific in your answers. No vague responses, right? These are the things that are going to help you break out of that 6.5 box. For example, if you go here, this is so vague, but it also has problems. What problems? Instead, be specific about the problems you want to talk about, privacy and mental health, right? So going into the specifics, giving examples, bolstering your claim, really using grammar to your advantage, all of this is going to help you, all right? Sion, again, if you want to know more about me, that will happen soon, all right? We'll keep a session where we can have chit-chats about this. I'm not going to reveal everything in one go, right? I want to keep you a bit curious, so let's do that. So now, take a look at this question. The question says, do you think people today are more isolated due to technology? A band 6.5 answer would sound something like yes, because people use phones too much. Now, what are the issues with it? Quickly tell me in the chat, what are the specific issues with this 6.5 answer? Why is it an indicator of a 6.5 band answer as opposed to the band 7+? We'll analyze this later. First, I need you to tell me what the problem with this is. So quickly in the chat, tell me what do you think are the issues with the first answer? Okay, it's very simple, but can you elaborate? Look at these points. Look at these points. Look at these points and tell me. Hi, good evening. Fire emoji. What are the issues? Okay, no reference to context, all right, but okay, I agree with you, but they might develop that later, just as a start. Do you also think there's a lack of conviction in how you're starting your answer? That's also something you can think about. Okay, so let's see. Too simple. No varied vocab. No reference to context. Any other issues? No introduction. All right, yes. No mention of the, again, this is a reference to context issue only. No mention of technology, right? No mention of tech. The answer might be too straightforward. That's also an issue we have here. It's too straightforward. It just simply says yes because it's very simplistic. Again, it is clear, but not developed, right? The stance is clear that yes, I do feel people are isolated because of technology, but I am not developing that stance enough. I am just clearly stating it, right? So that's one issue. Now, how do we fix this? Look at this band 7+ start where you're starting with absolutely. Now, what this yes does, same thing absolutely is doing, and I'm not saying you cannot use yes. You can use yes here as well. Use a variety. Maybe in one answer you said yes, in another you said absolutely, in another you said definitely. So you can switch these around. There's no rule that absolutely is better than yes. All of it combined needs to be a whole package, right? It's not just this one thing that you adapt. If I take absolutely and put absolutely over here in this answer, absolutely, because people use phones too much, that's still not going to make this a more than a 6.5 introduction. Why? Because other things are still missing. What are the other things? Not developed enough, not stating the specific problem. Why is using phones too much an issue? If you're saying it's so simple that because we're using our phones too much, we're isolated, then can we just stop using phones? Is that a solution? Or does that lead to like 50 other problems, right? So there are many things that need to be considered here that this particular statement is not showing consideration towards, all right? Now here we say absolutely. While technology connects us virtually, we are saying it does connect us. The point is that technology connects us. And here there's an inherent contradiction in this statement. What is the contradiction in this statement? Can you tell me over here, isolated due to technology, what is the contradiction? What is the contradiction? Quickly tell me in the chat. Hello, Rahul. You're missing a vowel there. Tell me what the contradiction here is very quickly. It's so easy to spot. The contradiction is very, very straightforward and easy to spot. Quickly tell me what it is. Virupaksha, you're getting there sort of, but you haven't stated it very clearly. Could you try again? State it a little more clearly what the contradiction is. I will tell you, the contradiction here has to do with tech and isolation. Can you build upon that and tell me what the contradiction is? Quickly now. Okay, why are you struggling with this? This is really so easy. It's very simple. The contradiction over here is that tech is supposed to connect us. Tech is supposed to connect us. It makes us better connected. Okay, very good. Virupaksha has said it. Tech connects us virtually, but at the same time distances us from in-person meetings. Yes, very good. Perfect, Virupaksha. Great job. That's the inherent contradiction over here. And to bring out that contradiction in your response shows that you understand this contradiction, right? Instead of giving such a simple response, you are showing higher level thinking. You're saying, look how ironic it is that something that was meant to bring us closer, something that has now brought the world closer together, has somehow ironically led to contradiction. So this, led to isolation. So this is a contradiction. This is also an irony, right? This is an example of irony, and you can also say it that way. You can say it's quite ironic that technology that was supposed to bring us closer together has further pushed people into isolation, okay? So you can bring this up in your answer. It shows that you understand the nitty-gritties of what is being asked, okay? That's exactly what is done here. While technology connects us virtually, it often reduces real face-to-face interactions, making people feel lonelier in crowded online spaces. Alright, so here again the contradiction is being nicely emphasized. I have been ambushed. I have been ambushed by a little kitty cat in the middle of a session. So see, even cats want to prepare for the IELTS. Do you want to prepare for the IELTS? So he only has one word in his vocabulary, which is meow. Meow. So stop disturbing the class now, alright? The only band you can get is band 9 because cats have 9 lives. Okay, coming back to what I was saying. So here again we've brought out the contradiction so well by saying it's making us lonelier in crowded places, crowded online spaces. Now the meaning of crowded itself implies that there are many people there. So how can you be lonely in a crowded place? Again, that is a contradiction over here. All right. So very beautifully this beginning, this introduction brings out these contrasting ideas, put them together, develops them, draws that distinction between online and real face-to-face interaction, and clearly states that the reason why people feel isolated is because real face-to-face interaction is missing. Alright, this is what makes it a 7+ answer. Even though this is clear as well, it's not developed. This is developed, it acknowledges the irony, the contradiction, the subtleties, the nuances, and then it develops the answer accordingly. Alright? Okay. Next issue is your grammar is not bad. It's not wrong. You're not making glaring grammatical errors. You can put a sentence together decently well, but it's not good enough. All right, it's not where it needs to be. So common issues that can be found for somebody whose grammar is not that advanced is that there's a lot of repetition, especially of like sentence starters. There is. So a lot of your consecutive. What's another problem? You can tell me. So a lot of the consecutive sentences are starting with the same sentence pattern or have the same sentence pattern. All right. Next, you're not making use of things like conditionals, complex clauses, or relative pronouns, right? These things are what help you build advanced sentences. These are the building blocks of advanced sentences. This is an advanced sentence structure that we have time and again revised: 0, first, second, and third conditional. Yes, Birupaksha, very well put and very well said. Always acknowledging another perspective and giving a little bit of concession to the other side and saying, while that is also the case, I personally believe that it is a great way to approach the answer. So what you're saying, it's perfectly fine. Giving two strong opinions and saying that no, what I'm saying is the only right approach, again can hurt your score. So what you're saying is completely valid and makes sense. Great, good that you were able to point that out. Very well done. Okay. All right. And now errors with articles and prepositions here. Big one for Indians. For some reason, we just don't want to use our articles, a and the, we just eat them up. Make sure that you are adding articles. Make sure you know the rules of articles. See, prepositions is very common, right? Some mistakes are very common, but you have to steer clear of mistakes that Indians make. So here, a good thing you can do, some smart work you can do is, you can go to ChatGPT and you can say, could you tell me Right, so if you ask, could you tell me some preposition errors that are normally made by native speakers, you'll get a list of errors that are okay to make because native speakers are making them. And also you can then say, could you tell me some preposition errors that are normally made by Indians? So you'll say Indian English speakers. And here are the errors that you need to be aware of and not make, right? Because the ones that Indian English speakers, or you can even say that people who are just learning English as a second language, what are the preposition errors that they tend to make? And you can mentally note that these are errors that I want to stay away from, because these are the kind of errors that will hurt my score. Otherwise, if I make very common preposition errors that even native speakers make, that's fine, that won't hurt my score. Alright, so here make smart use of AI, use ChatGPT to get insight. Now, if you start finding examples online, that's going to take you a lot of time. You'll have to listen to interview after interview of native speakers and then people who are speaking English as a second language. You'll have to read article after article. AI can just collate that information for you and give you sentences, right? So make use of that, save your time. This is smart use of artificial intelligence, all right? Okay, now here are some examples that you need to fix, because these are the kind of things that will hurt your score. Number one being, if I will get time, I will go. What is the mistake here? What is the error? Quickly tell me in the chat. You've seen the fix, you've seen the correct version of the sentence. I want you to tell me what the error is. Which grammatical concept has been incorrectly applied here, or where did the writer or speaker go wrong with this sentence? Quickly, quickly, quickly. Oh, Mr. Invincible, hello there. Quickly tell me what is wrong with this sentence. What is the error? There is a specific grammatical mistake here, Virupaksha. Are you able to tell what it is? So here the error actually, Virupaksha, logically you might be right, but the error is with conditional. Can anybody tell me which conditional this is? Which conditional is this? Which conditional? The corrected sentence is which conditional? So we have 0, 1, 2, 3 conditionals, and we've also gone through when to use which, and all of them have a different structure, how we create them, right? So there is an if clause in all of them, and then there is the second half, right? So the if clause, if it's in simple present, then the outcome clause will be in a particular tense. If the if clause is in has would in it, then the outcome clause will have a certain tense, right? So these are the rules of conditionals that we need to follow. So make sure you're brushing up on your conditionals to know exactly what is wrong. I've taught these 1 or 2 times in classes. You can go back and take a look at videos. I will also make a short on this so you have easy access of just remembering your conditionals, all right? So here we have the first one second, let's start with this. Here right, and it's correct because simple present, the if clause, and second one has will, which is future tense. Okay, just remember that. If I won't go into conditional details right now, because again it derails the lesson every time. I've taught this once or twice, but I'll just post a separate video over here. All right, there are other conditionals that can have different tenses, right? For example, if I were the president, I would da 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 da. Or you can have the structure, if I had studied more, I would have passed the test, right? So you can have different tenses in all of them, and I will just give you a cheat sheet of which conditional is what. But just remember that you will never have a sentence structure like this, right? You will never have will in the if clause. Just remember that, all right? You will never have will in the if clause. So that itself is a mistake here. You don't even have to, if you can't remember the conditionals, it's fine. You don't even have to go into which conditional this is. But you just know that if I have a will over there, it's wrong, right? So general pairing, when we have will in the second half, I told you if it's an if and an outcome, right? So if we have will in the second half, then this is going to be in simple present, right? There is another conditional where we have simple present and simple present, right? There is one in which we have past perfect and would have. Then we have simple past, and then we have will have, all right? So there are many different possibilities, many different permutations and combinations here. You just need to make sure you're using the right combination for the if and the outcome, all right? That's one. Second is, and it's just a matter of memorization. You don't have to remember, right? If this is the 0, if this is the third, if this is the second conditional, just remember that in this combination, I cannot have a if sentence and an outcome sentence, all right? Next, he is good in English. Quickly tell me, what is the problem with using in over here? What is the problem with using in over here? Quickly. Yes, it is a common preposition mistake, but the rule is very simple. Every time I have a subject or a sport or any kind of talent, right? If I'm saying he is good and then I have any kind of subject, sport or talent that I'm talking about, then it will always have at, all right? You will always have at. Just remember this because this is a very common mistake, right? You don't even have to look for logic over here. Of course, we cannot be inside English, but we cannot be on top of English either. So you don't have to look for logic over here. Just remember, he's good at English. He's good at mathematics. He's good at playing the guitar. He's good at arguing, right? He's good at ruining the mood. It can also be used sarcastically, but always with at. ठीक है? श्रेयस, आप अभी बहुत नादान हो. आपकी प्रॉब्लम ये है, जब आप नादानी से बाहर निकलोगे, खुद दुनिया में जाओगे, काम करोगे, then you will realize. All right? So is that and I will just make a very simple short to help you memorize all the conditionals. So just stay updated, stay subscribed, and look out for new information. See, even the shorts that we are creating on the channel, most of them are to help you out. They're all information based shorts. Everything is to give you some sort of information very quickly that you can remember. So it won't be a waste of your time. So make sure you're looking out for these things on the channel. All right. Okay. Now, what examiners want that you tend to miss out, all right, in the IELTS. So in the speaking bit, coherence and fluency, you know that this is 25% of your score, and this is where most people struggle the most repetitive, right? And the reason for that is that we're not used to talking in English. Even if we have good English speaking skills, it takes practice to be able to speak English non-stop. If you are not speaking English, maybe you're reading a lot of English, but at home you're just simply talking to everybody in Hindi or whatever your native language is, then you won't be able to hold a conversation in English for long. You won't be able to speak at length in English, right? So please make sure that you are putting in that kind of practice and that kind of work. Make sure you're speaking at length in English for some time, at least every day for 15 minutes, so that you get into the habit of being able to think and speak in English fast. Okay? You might have great vocabulary. You might read really crazy, long War and Peace type novels, right? You might even relish and enjoy that. But you're not able to speak in English because you haven't developed that skill. Listening and reading is a different skill. Speaking and writing is a different skill. You need to develop all of them because all will be tested in the IELTS. So at least 15 minutes of speaking practice. If you have to do it in front of a mirror, do it in front of a mirror. It doesn't matter. Okay? Talk to yourself, make a video of yourself, anything that works for you, but you have to do this. If you have a friend you can do this with, then definitely if your best friend also wants to improve their English speaking skills, and you can just talk to each other in English. Just get into the habit of doing that at least a month before your IELTS test. Alright? Shreyas, ab dal badlu kaun ho gaya? You were saying something else to me and now you're giving me a compliment. But see, my point is to help as many people as I can. And if I have truly helped you, then that is the biggest compliment anybody can ever give me. So thank you so much. That motivates me to keep working harder for all of you. Alright? Okay. Now here, next thing is natural transitions. While talking and while holding a normal conversation, you are going to take some time to think about the next thing you want to say, and we generally show that thinking through transitions and through fillers. Fillers like yeah, all are also fine as long as you don't overdo them, and natural transitions from one thought to the other look something like, well, actually, to be honest. So make sure you are adding these to your speaking. Stress plus intonation plus pacing. You need to, if you're talking too slowly, that means I have to think a lot before talking. That shows that I'm not comfortable with the language. So pacing needs to be natural, it needs to be normal. Don't talk too fast. Although a lot of people have the habit of talking extremely fast, and if you're able to do that, that means you know English really well, so that can work in your favor. But if you talk too fast, that shows your inability to respect your listener. The main point of communication is to help your listener understand comprehensively what you're trying to say, and if you talk too fast, then they might miss out on certain things. Your pacing should be like that of a native speaker, and native speaker pacing as there's a very good video I've made on connected speech. Please watch that. Connected speech will help you with this pacing issue, right? How native speakers make use of connective speech. That will really help you out with pacing. Intonation, stress, emphasizing the right words, showcasing what you mean or what you want to say with the kind of emphasis you put on certain things. For example, there's this example of these sentences where just changing the placement of one word can change the entire meaning of the sentence, right? For example, let me think of that real quick. What was it? Actually, I'll find that and I will just make another shot on it. That's very interesting. It's to do with only, like only she performed the song, or only she gave the speech, she only gave the speech, she gave the only speech. So in this, all three of them, the placement of the word only can change the meaning of the sentence. Only she gave the speech. This implies that she was the only one out of all the people who gave the speech. She only gave the speech. This implies that she was meant to do other things as well, but out of all the things that she was meant to do, she only gave the speech. She gave the only speech. this implies that there was only one speech and she was the one who gave it, right? So the placement of only in all these three sentences and how you're stressing on it changes the meaning of the word. So all of these little subtleties we need to know and be aware of, right? That's for speaking. Now coming to writing, what are the different things? Clear position maintained throughout. Don't be a dal badlu in writing. Make sure whatever it is that you've established in the beginning, that this is what I feel about this particular topic, make sure you're justifying and expanding that. ऐसा ना हो कि लिखते लिखते बीच में you have changed your stance. Don't do that. Linking devices beyond firstly, secondly, right? So you're starting the first paragraph with firstly, second with secondly, third with thirdly. It shows redundancy and it shows your lack of knowledge of other linking devices. I have told you about linking devices many a times. Go watch those videos and you will get a good comprehensive overview of the different linking devices that you can use, right? So you can say that being said, in contrast, on the other hand, and there are many, many more. I've given you like 20 plus ways to link ideas. Watch that video and make a note of all of those linking devices, all right? Okay, now here's our final task for today. All of this information that we have gathered and learned and understood, we are going to apply it now. So here we have a question prompt which says, some people think students should learn history, others think they should study science. Discuss both views. So what is the prompt asking us to do? It's a writing prompt. It's saying that some people believe in A argument, others believe in B argument. Discuss both arguments, right? So discuss, inherently, discuss does not say talk about the positives only or talk about the negatives only. Discuss means talk about both. Here it doesn't explicitly ask you to give your opinion, but you definitely can, because the point of an essay is to give your opinion, right? So this is the agenda. Now at 6.5 band would do something like, history is important because we learn from the past. Science helps us in real life. Both are important. Again, clear stance, explained both but not developed. Vocabulary is very meh, boring. The sentence structure is too simple. All of the issues that we discuss are demonstrated over here. Now, I want one opener from you. That is a band 7 plus opener. So please quickly in the chat, I want a good, nice, solid opener from you, and that will help me understand whether or not you are able to apply everything we have discussed and learned today. Because just listening, just attending class will not be enough. You have to be able to apply your learnings. Only then you can see a benefit from it, all right? So quickly, I am giving you 2 minutes. In 2 minutes, I need a band 7 plus opener, making sure you are checking all the points in the list that we learned. Okay, there is no denying the fact. It should be, there is no denying the fact that history is important and so is science. But this is not enough for an opener. I want you to give me more information. Develop your idea properly. Do we need any accent for good band? Elliot, no. You just need to be clear in your speech and properly understood. If the listener or examiner doesn't have any issues understanding what you're saying, then your accent is not going to be a problem. If your accent is so thick, so heavy that it impairs the listener's ability to understand the words that you're trying to say, then yes, your accent will pose a threat to your band. Yes, Birupaksha, but I need at least one good fleshed out sentence, a long, complex, good fleshed out sentence that explains the issue at hand, that makes a good introduction for this essay, keeping all of the points we discussed in mind, okay? So come on quickly. It should not take you so long. You should be able to do it rather quickly. Now that we've seen 2 examples, I took you through so many examples, right? We've discussed everything point by point. We know exactly what not to do and what to do. So now apply those learnings and come up with a sentence. It's like you have attended a seminar on rock climbing, but when you reach in front of the mountain or the rock, you're not able to take your first step. What is the point? You might know everything in theory, but if you can't do it in practical, then what's the point? There is no denying the very good. Thank you for correcting that, Birupaksha. Great application of whatever I just said. That if you don't correct yourself, if you're not honest with yourself, then you will not grow. So I can see from your attitude that you will definitely grow. There's no denying the fact that students should learn history as well as science. There's no need for a comma over here, okay? As said by such and such philosopher, the present is shaped by the past, but you cannot say such and such philosopher. See, if you don't remember the name of the philosopher, then there is no point mentioning or referencing them. Only reference people and quotes that you remember. Alright? So, can we say something like, Sion, that's not a good both of them are very important. Both of what? Both history and science are very important in our daily life, although we have to know about the history rather than science makes more relevant to our daily life. Again, your idea is too confused, too convoluted. What are you trying to say? We can say something like, so as a starter, I've simply said history and science are both integral in understanding the world, but it is important to realize that both these fields of studies serve different purposes. Okay, so this revitalizing. Shreyas, I have a strong feeling that this is AI generated, so I'm not gonna give you feedback. And I can, please don't try to fool me. I can very easily tell when a response is AI generated. So, see, making use of AI, again, like I told you, is becoming an inevitable part of our existence, and we have to leverage AI, but we need to make sure that it's helping us, not harming us. What you're doing right now, it's harming you, it's not helping you. Aman, I think that the point you're trying to make is so interesting and very well done, but just the way you're expressing it can be better, right? So you are trying to say that history helps us learn about the past, science helps us develop the future, right? And it's a very good point to make. Just the English here can be better. So we can say something like, Or better still, science will. So see, Aman, I have taken your point, exactly what you were saying, but I have developed it in a different manner. So here we are making the point that both are important, it doesn't have to be one versus the other, both work together to help us understand our world. History helps us understand what you were saying, that understanding the past, so history helps us understand how we got here, and it is science that will take us ahead or take us into the future. And both need to be studied in parallel so that we can have a holistic understanding of the world around us, right? So this is one way to develop that point, and that's a point that's like the logic is very good. It's just the English could have been better, and I've given you an example of how you can do that. Okay? So to make the point that it doesn't have to be one or the other, what have I said here? It would be foolish to assume that history and science are mutually exclusive. What that means is history and science cannot exist together, when in reality history and science do exist together. Alright? Elliot, we will practice writing in a session. We will do full IELTS writing session next week. So in that I'll give you a lot of prompts with which we can practice. Alright? Okay, Birupaksha, very good. For understanding the world and developing in a way where we can foster when urgent need. Yes, very good. Alright. See, so now you've understood that you have to give a balanced, nuanced, developed approach that takes all perspectives into account. And in English, if you want to be able to express complex ideas in multiple perspectives, then you need to make use of complex sentences. Without subordinating conjunctions, without complex sentences, it becomes increasingly difficult for us to make such claims and such points, right? All right, so that brings us to the end of today's session. I hope that was helpful for all of you, and please keep practicing with prompts like this. Again, another smart use. I always start my AI request with please, so that's why I'm giving you that in the prompt. So you put this prompt in, you can change this number to anything. If you don't want 5, you want 10, you want 15, ask for 15. You will get the writing prompts. ChatGPT will provide them for you. Practice with those writing prompts. Alright? And then you can give in what you have written to ChatGPT and say, can you put in some more complex sentences? Can you enhance my beginning? Can you give me some better vocabulary in place of da 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 da? So you have to work in tandem with AI. You cannot just leave it to AI. You cannot say, grade my answer, give me a band. Don't ever ask AI for a band. Don't say that please improve my answer. Give very pointed instructions that I want to incorporate better vocabulary so that my score in lexical resource can go up. Can you give me ideas as to what I can improve in my answer so as to enhance my lexical resource score? So this pointed feedback will help ChatGPT give you the exact vocabulary words that you can incorporate. Otherwise, it's going to give you very random, vague answer that's not going to help you at all, right? And ChatGPT will tend to get repetitive after a while. So if you give ChatGPT, if you don't erase your history and you're talking to ChatGPT for a long time, and if you keep asking it for, synonyms of good, then you will notice that after a certain point in time, it keeps giving you the same synonyms. So now you have to tell ChatGPT, hey, I don't want these synonyms. Instead of these, can you give me some other suggestions, right? So you have to keep up. You have to work in tandem with ChatGPT. Only then it can be of benefit to you. If you totally depend on it like you will depend on a teacher, then that's not going to do you any good. It can give you wrong and incorrect information, and in that case, you will be stuck with wrong and incorrect information. Okay. उदित्य, मैंने बहुत भारी बोला है कि हर यूनिवर्सिटी का अपना क्राइटेरिया होता है और मुझे तो अपने दिमाग में याद नहीं है. दुनिया में 100 से ज़्यादा यूनिवर्सिटीज़ है. अब वो अपना क्राइटेरिया हर साल चेंज भी कर सकते हैं, तो मुझे तो याद नहीं रहेगा कि उनके बैंड रिक्वायरमेंट्स क्या है. ये आपको या तो गूगल करना पड़ेगा. कैसे करोगे? यूनिवर्सिटी की वेबसाइट पे जाकर, या फिर आपकी अगर किसी से बातचीत है, उनके किसी गाइडेंस काउंसलर से बातचीत है, उनको ईमेल करके पूछिए. उससे भी ज़्यादा बढ़िया बेनिफिट वाली चीज़ मैं आपको बता देती हूँ कि अगर आप ये फॉर्म फिल कर लेंगे तो आपको एक ऐसे करियर काउंसलर के टच में डाल दिया जाएगा जो आपकी इन सारी क्वेरीज का आंसर आपको एकदम करेक्टली अप्रोप्रिएटली दे देंगे और साथ में मदद भी कर देंगे कि इसको कैसे किया जाए. तो आपको जिस यूनिवर्सिटी का बैंड का रिक्वायरमेंट जानना है वो भी आपको पता चल जाएगा. क्या कोई और यूनिवर्सिटी है जो सेम लेवल की है जिसका शायद बैंड का रिक्वायरमेंट थोड़ा कम है, तो आप उसको भी कंसिडर कर सकते हैं. तो ये सारी इन्फॉर्मेशन के लिए आपको ये करियर काउंसलिंग फॉर्म फिल कर देना है जो आपको डिस्क्रिप्शन में मिल जाएगा. ये आपको एकदम फ्री में प्रोवाइड हो रहा है. Elliot, I will take up this issue in the full IELTS speaking class. ठीक है? How do we talk on a topic that we don't know so much about? I will tackle this issue for you. All right, and as promised, I'm going to give you a short on conditionals and 2 other things that are very important for you to have as like a guide that you can come back to. So just save those bits of information so that you can come and refer to them anytime you require. All right, and for that you have to be subscribed to the channel. Come to the channel regularly. Make sure you don't miss out on any of the content. So please subscribe, like the video, share it with your friends, and follow us on our socials so you don't miss out on updates. I will see you tomorrow. All right, take care. Bye bye. And Elliot, ऐसे ही, if you have any more questions that you want addressed, I can do it through a video, I can do it through shorts, I can do it through a live session. So please let me know in the comments. I will come back and read the comments of the video so that I know what specifically I need to address for you. Okay? Take care everybody. Bye bye. Have a great evening ahead.